Brady, and you can't win without Brady. Let's just be clear. The only time Brady in his entire career lost 10 games was his last year at Tampa Bay.
I know, and they've had those low-scoring Super Bowls where it wasn't like Brady.
That was all Brady. He defined a game plan. He did everything. He did it all. I mean, he made everything happen. So,
Let me ask you this, because I'm glad we're bringing this up. So there's a lot of people, media, the people I talk to, I'll be honest, even my head has kind of went back and forth on, who was the reason or whatever, right? So there's a lot of people who say that Bill Belichick is the greatest defensive mind of all time. But now they feel like because of the evidence we have of his record without Brady, either pre or after or post Brady, that now people don't feel like he's the greatest head coach of all time. What do you say to those people who say he's the greatest defensive mind, but not the greatest head coach?
I think they don't understand anything about football. I mean, that win on Sunday by the Chiefs, did Mahomes play at elite? I mean, Mahomes is really good, but that was a team win. That was a defensive team win. Mahomes executed the plan perfectly, and he did exactly. Football requires a team win. Brady's first Super Bowl was 143 yards passing, 142 yards rushing, and they stopped the greatest show on turf. It takes all three elements to work together. I find that really hard to believe. They won 11 games with Matt Castle. I mean, nobody seems to want to remember that year.
I always say that.
Nobody remembers. Everybody forgets about that because you got all these people on Twitter that think they have all the answers. Look, it's a hard sport to win without a quarterback. There's no mistake in that. And had they had any quarterbacking play this year, they would have won 7 or 8 games. They had probably the worst quarterbacking play, with the blame being laid at his feet for trusting Mac and trusting the offensive staff and all that. So I'm not trying to absolve that. But to me, I think it's a little short-sighted when you just quote, well, this coach with that. I mean, look, it's not an easy sport to win in, and it requires a lot of everything has to be aligned perfectly, or else Warren Moon would have 20 Super Bowls, if that were the case. I mean, the Houston Oilers are the greatest team that I've ever scouted or seen, and they got the one conference championship game. I mean, so it's like, it's ridiculous. And they had a quarterback in Hall of Fame. If Belichick coached that team, they might have won 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I love it. We say it all the time. Jimmy Johnson would have stayed in Dallas. Who knows what Aikman and them get? I was like, shoot, I thought they would have got a lot more. Segue real quick before you get out of here. I got to ask you about the Chargers hire. You like it or you love it, Harbaugh?
Well, I love it because, look, I'm a big believer in team culture, physical and mental toughness, something that the last guru didn't even think. I mean, these guys that just basically look at the analytical sheet, one guy doesn't even think momentum exists in the league. Can you imagine that? He wrote a column that says there's no such thing as momentum. I mean, and Staley, who thinks he did a really good job on defense, did he watch his defense? Did he watch it? Did they ever get higher than 20th overall? So I think what Jim brings to the Chargers is toughness, a culture, mental and physical. He'll be really good for the quarterback. They'll have balance. The team will win close games. They could never win a close game because they didn't have mental or physical toughness to win it. When it got hard, they retreated.